This is why it doesn't suck to be an NHL goalie. You don't play for the noise, you play for the silence. That split second right before the puck is released, when the crowd fades, the bench quiets, and it's just you, and the shooter, and fate. It's not fear, it's focus. It's the kind of quiet that doesn't ask for your attention, it demands it. Carey Price made a living in that moment. Game on the line, crowd at full tilt. Didn't matter. He looked like he was waiting for a bus. Stone face, still eyes, like he already knew the outcome. That's the drug. Not the wins, not the stats. Not even the attaboy from the coach. It's the stillness before the storm. That sacred pause where time folds in on itself. And you're the only thing between a red light and a roar. Igor Shesterkin has it too, staring down breakaways like he's solving a puzzle in slow motion. Crowds losing it, shooters locked in, and Igor's just breathing. The shooter winds up, the fans lean forward, and the world waits to see if you'll flinch. You don't, because this is the part you own. This is the part where you breathe. The calm in the chaos, the eye of the hurricane. They call it pressure. You call it home. But silence isn't the only thing goalies own. When the game goes to hell, guess who's still standing? Everyone talks about momentum, like it's this mystical force that comes and goes. Not for you. You are the momentum. One bad turnover, one broken stick, and suddenly it's a 2-on-0. The bench tenses, fans gasp, coaches pray. But you square up, you hold your ground, you command the storm. Marc-Andre Fleury made a career out of it. Spinning, diving, flipping desperation into domination. You think the play's over? Fleury's 10 feet out of the crease with a grin and a glove in your nightmares. Or take UC Saros, built like an undersized wall with the instincts of a hawk. His team gets shelled, doesn't matter. He locks in and makes 48 saves look routine. Because when everything's falling apart, when the forecheck fails, the D gets torched, and your team's hanging on by dental floss, you don't blink. You stop the puck. You don't need the spotlight. You don't need the credit. Because while everyone else is reacting, you're dictating. You don't just survive chaos, you control it. It's one thing to survive chaos. It's another to be the reason your team doesn't fall apart. And that's when you become something more. You're not just a piece of the puzzle, you are the damn puzzle. The moment you step in the crease, the tone shifts. The boys skate differently because they know if you're dialed in, they're never out of it. Andrei Vasilevsky doesn't just play goal, he plays God. Back-to-back cups, Conn Smythe Game 7 shutouts like it's just another Tuesday. Tampa didn't trust him, they built around him. Same with Henrik Lundqvist. He didn't need a cup to be royalty. Every Rangers fan knew if the king was between the pipes, you had a shot. Always. You make one save early and the whole bench comes alive. The guys stretch a little looser, the passes get bolder, because deep down, they know you'll bail them out. You're not plan B, you're plan A, B, and C. And when there's a minute left, face off in your zone. The other team's got 6 attackers and bad intentions. No one's looking at the clock, they're looking at you. Because when the game's on the line, they don't hope you'll show up. They know you will. And that's what it means to be the guy. But being the guy doesn't come easy. You've got to earn it. Every shift, every shot, every bruise. This position doesn't care if you're tough. It asks if you're tough enough to keep getting up. You don't play for praise. You play through pain. No position in sports gets beat up more quietly. And no one embodies that more than Jonathan Quick. Flexible like rubber, aggressive like a junkyard dog. He didn't stop the puck. He hunted it. Or Tim Thomas, a goalie who looked like a beer leaguer, but played like a street fighter with goalie pads. 2011, he didn't just win the cup, he dragged it to Boston with blood and duct tape. You don't need pretty, you need presence. The kind where you're limping off after the first, popping Advil like candy between periods, and still dropping into the butterfly because the team needs a wall. And they know it too. That quiet fist bump, the subtle tap on the pads after a huge save. They may never say it, but they know you're back there paying the physical toll so they can chase glory. You're not just gritty, you're granite. Because when the pads are soaked in sweat, the legs are shot, and your body's telling you it's done, you go anyway, because that's what goalies do. You want highlight reels? Cool. But out here, your save is the highlight. They get the goals, you get the gasps. They selly for the cameras, you kill the crowd with silence. Because when you make that save, the one no one thinks is possible, everything stops. Like Dominic Hasek twisting his body into a crime scene outline, glove flying, legs folding, logic melting, and still somehow getting a toe on it. Or Jake Ottinger in that 2022 Game 7 vs. Calgary. 64 saves. Literal daylight robbery. He just didn't keep Dallas in it. He made it his game. You don't need a celly. You don't need to chirp. You let the puck hitting your pad do the talking. That paddle save, the backdoor denial, the cross-crease flash that breaks the shooter's soul, that's your moment. Because when they slow it down in that highlight reel, zoom in, run it back from 3 angles, you're not just part of the play, you are the play. The save that gets replayed for years, used in hype videos, burned into rival fan nightmares. You didn't score the goal, you prevented the one they thought was guaranteed. And that's highlight material. Every single time. You think that's impressive? That's just instinct. Let's talk about what separates a goalie from everyone else. This isn't a normal job. This isn't for normal people. You stand in front of frozen rubber flying 90+ miles per hour while traffic crashes the net like a Black Friday sale. And you do it on purpose because you're not wired like the rest. Sergei Bobrovsky, dude trains like a Navy SEAL on Red Bull. Insane flexibility, Olympic level prep. He doesn't flinch. He absorbs chaos and spits out 45 save shutouts. Then there's Ilya Sorokin. Eyes like a hawk, moves like a python. He doesn't react, he pre-reacts. You think you've got him beat, and then the pad comes out of nowhere like a plot twist. You track pucks through legs, screens, deflections, while listening to 18,000 fans lose their minds behind you. And yet, you stay calm, composed, unshaken. You breathe through the fire. While everyone else is playing hockey, you're playing chess in a minefield, with your knees screaming and your heartbeat at war tempo. They call you strange. They call you intense. That's fine, because deep down, they all know the truth. You're built different. And it's not just you, it's all of us. Every goalie who's ever worn the mask is part of something deeper. Goalies don't chirp each other, they nod. Because if you've worn the mask, you've lived the pain. It's not just a position, it's a code. One built on bruises, blown hips, and the kind of mental gymnastics that would break most players in half. You see another goalie across the rink, you don't see a rival. You see someone who's been through the same fire. Corey Schneider battling through injuries, media pressure, and a collapsing team, still suiting up, still fighting for every save like it was a Game 7. Devin Dubnyk written off, bounced around, buried, until he reinvented himself in Minnesota and dragged the Wild back into relevance. These guys didn't go viral. They didn't chase clout. They just kept showing up when no one else would. That's the brotherhood. The knowing glance in warm-ups. The shared smile after a 50-save loss. The unspoken respect that comes from being the last line of defense and the first one blamed. No one outside the crease understands it, and that's the point. Because once you wear the mask, you're part of something deeper than stats or save percentages. You're part of the unshakable, misunderstood, mentally unhinged fraternity of goaltending. And we wouldn't trade it for anything. But brotherhood alone doesn't win games. You still need to deliver when everything's on the line. When everything's collapsing, when the puck's in your zone, the clock's bleeding out, and the opponent's got 6 guys on the ice with bad intentions. No one's looking at the scoreboard. They're looking at you. Because in the biggest moments, you're not the backup plan. You're the plan. Braden Holtby, 2018 Stanley Cup Final. Game 2, empty net, golden chance for Vegas. And then, the save. That paddle denial didn't just change a game, it changed a legacy. Or Cam Ward, a 21-year-old rookie thrown into the 2006 playoffs. No playoff experience, no hype, just pure composure. He didn't just fill the role, he owned it. Conn Smythe, Stanley Cup, ice in the veins. When the moment gets big, most players shrink, but not you. You grow into it. You want the 6-on-5. You want the pulled goalie. You want the buzzer beater desperation play with the whole barn losing its mind. Because pressure doesn't crush you, it confirms you. So when your teammates are gassed, your coach is out of ideas, and your fan base is holding its breath, they're not hoping you'll deliver. They know you will. Because that's what it means to be trusted, when everything's on the line, and they put it all in your hands. And you say, bring it. Still think this is just a young man's game? Let me show you what experience looks like when the legs fade, but the fire doesn't. You don't bounce back like you used to. You creak when you crawl out of bed. Your knees sound like bubble wrap, and your hips file daily complaints. But you're still here, because goalies don't age like milk. They age like whiskey. You get sharper, smarter, meaner. Robert Luongo didn't just play into his late 30s. He thrived, still posting 40-save performances with a smirk and a chirp. Didn't need to dive anymore, he just read everything 2 seconds ahead. Craig Anderson, 40+ years old, still strapping on the pads, still stealing games, still confusing younger shooters like, wait, why didn't that go in? Because experience doesn't flinch. You've seen every deke, every toe drag, every fake shot since Snapchat was invented. You used to win games with reflexes. Now you win them with positioning and poise. They try to beat you high glove. Buddy, you've been waiting for that shot since 2009. Let the kids chase TikTok saves. You play the angles, you stay efficient, you let the puck come to you. They call it veteran savvy. You call it still elite, just without the hip flexibility in a yoga instructor. So yeah, maybe you ice more than you practice. Maybe you spend more time on massage tables than in the film room. But come puck drop, you're still that guy. Stats fade, records fall, but legacy lives forever. There's no parade for you, no press conference, no ESPN special when you hang them up. But the guys in that room, the ones who saw you at your best, they never forget. Ryan Miller didn't need a cup to be remembered. He gave everything for Buffalo, for Team USA, for every team who ever leaned on him when it mattered most. Ben Bishop, cut down by injuries, but ask anyone in Tampa or Dallas, he didn't just play, he stood tall. Game 7s, overtime marathons, he was a wall until the very end. Because what you leave behind isn't on a plaque. It's in the stories they tell after practice, the quiet nods across locker rooms years later, the rookies who watched you work and thought, damn, that's how you're supposed to do it. Your legacy isn't in the banners or stat sheets. It's in the hearts of the players who knew, when the fire was hottest, when the game was on the edge, you were the one holding the line. They may forget the goals. They'll never forget the saves. The pain, the pride, the position, it all stays with you. Because once you've owned the crease, once you've stood between victory and collapse, you never really leave. So yeah, goalies get broken, overlooked, replaced. But after all that, here's why we still show up. Being an NHL goalie doesn't come with guarantees. No promises, no mercy, no safety nets. It takes your body, it takes your mind. Some nights, it even takes your joy. But it gives you something too. It gives you moments, the kind most players never get. The breakaway with 10 seconds left. The OT glove save silences 20,000 people. The look in your teammates' eyes when they know they can lean on you. It's not about stats or contracts or the gear you wore. It's about what you stood for, what you stopped. And if the game call tomorrow said it needed just one more save, you wouldn't hesitate. You tape up, strap in, take that lonely skate to the crease, look down at the ice like an old friend and whisper, "Let's go."